Jerusalem, bathed in the golden light of the Middle Eastern sun, stands as a city with a history as ancient and complex as humanity itself. This city has been the center of faith and power for centuries, witnessing the rise and fall of empires and the ebb and flow of civilizations. Our journey into its ancient beginnings takes us back thousands of years to a time shrouded in mystery and legend. In the ancient times of around 2000 BC, the area known as Jebus was inhabited by the Canaanites. Amidst the undulating hills of this region, a city emerged, fated to play a central role on the global stage. Long before it became the heart of major world religions, Jerusalem was recorded as Urusalim in ancient Egyptian texts. Jews named it Yerushalayim, meaning city of peace, yet history has seen it become a battleground for wars and massacres. The city's earliest significant reference appears in the Hebrew Bible, where Melchizedek, king of Salem, greets Abraham. This early encounter marks Jerusalem's initial steps into the religious consciousness of the Jewish people. But it was King David who truly brought Jerusalem to prominence. In a daring move, David captured the city from the Jebusites, establishing it as the capital of the United Kingdom of Israel around 1000 BC. The city, now known as the City of David, became the political and spiritual nucleus of the Jewish people. Its sacredness was further enhanced by David's son Solomon, who built the first temple. A magnificent structure that stood as a symbol of divine presence. As the sun sets over these ancient stones, we're reminded of Jerusalem's enduring legacy, a city that has captivated hearts and minds since the dawn of history. With the dawn of a new era under Solomon, Jerusalem enters one of its most celebrated periods. The first temple, built by Solomon, stands as a beacon of Jewish faith, a physical manifestation of their covenant with God. This grand temple not only solidifies Jerusalem's religious standing, but also attracts pilgrims from far and wide, enriching the city both spiritually and materially. However, this golden age was not to last forever. The Babylonian Empire, a rising power in the east, casts a long shadow over Jerusalem. In 586 BC, tragedy strikes. The Babylonians, under King Nebuchadnezzar, lay siege to Jerusalem. After a prolonged and devastating struggle, the city falls. Solomon's temple, the heart of Jewish worship, is razed to the ground. The destruction of the temple marks a turning point in Jewish history. The people of Judah are exiled, carried away to Babylon. Jerusalem, once bustling with life, falls silent. But the story of Jerusalem is one of resilience. In 539 BC, the Persian conqueror Cyrus the Great defeats Babylon and allows the Jewish exiles to return home. This return sparks a new chapter in the city's history. Under Persian auspices, the Jewish people embark on a monumental task, the construction of the Second Temple. The temple, though lacking the grandeur of Solomon's original, becomes a new center for Jewish worship and community life. As we leave this era of renewal and hope, we step into the evolving narrative of a city that refuses to be forgotten, a city that continues to shape and be shaped by the tides of history. The conquest of Alexander the Great in 332 BC ushers in a new era for Jerusalem, one marked by Hellenistic influences. This period witnesses a fusion of Greek and Jewish cultures, setting the stage for significant religious and political upheaval. The Maban Revolt, a Jewish rebellion against the Seleucid Empire, one of the successor states of Alexander's empire, epitomizes the tension and resistance during this era. Starting in 167 BC, it was a crucial moment in Jewish history, showcasing a strong resistance to Hellenization by Seleucids. The Hasmonean dynasty, established post-revolt around 140 BC, signifies a period of Jewish self-rule and cultural revival under leaders who were part of the Maccabean family. This dynasty continued until about 37 BC, marking an era of autonomy and cultural flourishing for the Jewish community under the shadow of the broader Hellenistic world. As the wheel of time turns, Jerusalem finds itself under a new dominion, the mighty Roman Empire. In 63 BC, Romans under General Pompey took control of the city, effectively ending the Hellenistic period that had been initiated by Alexander the Great's conquests. The Roman period significantly reshaped Jerusalem's political, cultural, and architectural landscape, setting the stage for the events and changes that followed in the ensuing centuries. This era redefines the city, bringing both monumental development and profound turmoil. However, beneath the surface of architectural grandeur and cosmopolitan life, tensions simmer between the Jewish populace and their Roman overseers. The cultural and religious rifts deepen, setting the stage for one of history's most pivotal moments. The life and crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth, then a Jewish preacher and religious leader, mark a turning point in Jerusalem's, and indeed the world's, history. Jesus' teachings, his death on the cross, and the belief in his resurrection in Jerusalem become the cornerstone of Christianity. Jerusalem thus becomes the spiritual epicenter of this emerging faith, adding another layer to its complex religious tapestry. As the Roman era unfolds, Jerusalem endures a tumultuous sequence of events, revolts, suppressions, and momentous changes that forever reshape its destiny. Among these events, the destruction of the Second Temple stands out as a pivotal moment. Following the Jewish revolt against Roman occupation, in 70 AD, Roman legions, led by future Emperor Titus, besieged and ultimately razed the temple. This episode was accompanied by a brutal massacre, vividly described by the contemporary Roman Jewish historian Josephus. In 132 AD, Roman Emperor Hadrian began to establish a city in Jerusalem called Aelia Capitolina, the name being a combination of his own name and that of the Roman god Jupiter Capitolinus. And the Jews witnessed the laying of foundations for a temple dedicated to Jupiter, tragically on the very grounds where their sacred temple once stood. Following the Christianization of the Roman Empire, Jerusalem enters the Byzantine or the Eastern Roman era, beginning around 313 AD. This period is defined by the construction of significant Christian holy sites, including the initiation of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre around 326 AD and the city's emergence as a major pilgrimage center. The Byzantine rule saw theological debates and the shaping of early Christian doctrines, reflecting the city's growing spiritual significance to the Christian world. As the Roman era fades, a new chapter in Jerusalem's history begins with the advent of Islam in the 7th century. This period marks significant religious and cultural shifts in the city's long narrative. In 637 AD, Jerusalem comes under the rule of Caliph Umar, following a peaceful surrender. This change ushers in Islamic stewardship of the city, introducing new religious and cultural dynamics. One of the most profound legacies of this period is the construction of the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount. The Dome of the Rock, completed in 691 AD, is an architectural marvel, revered in Islamic tradition as the site of Prophet Muhammad's night journey to heaven. Jerusalem, known as Al-Quds, meaning holy in Arabic, becomes a venerated city in Islam, third in sanctity after Mecca and Medina. Its significance is further enhanced by its associations with biblical prophets revered in Islam. Under various Islamic dynasties, Jerusalem experiences periods of prosperity and scholarly prominence, though not without challenges and conflict. As Jerusalem navigates through the tides of Islamic rule, it remains a symbol of faith and coexistence, mirroring the broader historical and religious currents of the region. It was the era that marked the lifting of the Roman ban on Jews entering Jerusalem. Almost 500 years later, Jews were once again permitted to enter the city. As the new millennium dawns, Jerusalem enters one of its most tumultuous periods, the Crusades. This era, marked by religious fervor and military campaigns, sees the city at the heart of a colossal struggle between Christian and Muslim powers. In 1099, after a brutal siege, Jerusalem falls to the Crusaders. The conquerors, ruthless and merciless, slaughtered Muslim and Jewish residents without distinction, including vulnerable women and children. Historian William of Tyre, in a chilling account of the aftermath, depicted a scene of unspeakable horror. It was impossible to look on the vast numbers of the slain without horror. Everywhere lay fragments of human bodies, and the very ground was covered with the blood of the slain. Still more dreadful was it to gaze upon the victors themselves, dripping with blood from head to foot. The city, now ruled by Christian kings, becomes a major pilgrimage destination for European Christians. Churches and monasteries are built, altering the city's landscape. However, the Crusader rule is met with resistance and hostility from the Muslim world. The city becomes a symbol of both religious zeal and conflict, embodying the era's clashing ideologies and worldviews. The iconic figure of Saladin, the Muslim leader, recaptures Jerusalem in 1187 after the Battle of Hattin, bringing it back under Islamic control. This victory is celebrated throughout the Islamic world and marks a turning point in the Crusades. Despite Saladin's conquest, the struggle over Jerusalem continues for centuries, with the city changing hands multiple times. Each change leaves its mark on Jerusalem's diverse and complex identity. As Jerusalem enters a new epoch under the Ottoman Empire, an era that redefines its landscape and identity once more. Under Ottoman rule, which begins in 1517, Jerusalem experiences relative stability. The city, while not a central hub of the empire, benefits from various administrative and architectural developments. One of the most notable contributions of the Ottomans is the reconstruction and fortification of Jerusalem's ancient walls by Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. These walls, which still stand today, shape the city's historic boundaries. However, by the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire is in decline, and Jerusalem reflects this change. The city, though still a spiritual center, faces economic challenges and a shifting demographic landscape. The British Mandate period, following World War I, brings new changes. Jerusalem becomes a focal point of the growing Zionist movement, advocating for a Jewish homeland and the rising Arab nationalism. The conflicting aspirations of Jews and Arabs in the region set the stage for the complex and often contentious modern history of Jerusalem. This period sees increased immigration, urban development, and escalating tensions. With the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, Jerusalem is divided. The city becomes a symbol of the Israeli-Arab conflict, with East Jerusalem under Jordanian control and West Jerusalem as part of Israel. The 1967 Six-Day War marks a major turning point, with Israel taking control over all of Jerusalem. This event reshapes the city's political and demographic landscape, intensifying the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In our final chapter, we explore Jerusalem as it stands today, a city that continues to captivate the world with its unique blend of ancient history and modern vibrancy. Jerusalem remains a sacred city for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Its ancient stones tell stories of past millennia, while its streets echo with the footsteps of pilgrims and locals alike. The complexity of Jerusalem is evident in its political landscape. The city embodies the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with East Jerusalem sought as a capital by Palestinians, while Israel considers the entire city its undivided capital. As we look at Jerusalem today, we see a city that mirrors the human journey, with its aspirations, struggles, and hopes. It stands as a testament to the endurance of faith and the unceasing quest for peace. Jerusalem, crossroads of faith and history, a city that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the unending pursuit of spiritual and worldly aspirations. Its story is a mosaic of human endeavor, resilience, and hope. As the sun sets over this eternal city, we are reminded that Jerusalem is not just a place, but a living testament to our shared human heritage.